The screen lights up at 2 a.m. Your thumb hovers over their name. You scroll through old messages, knowing nothing changes. The urge to check, to find a reason for the rejection, pulls again. It's not new. You've done this before. The same loop, the same pain. Each tap feels like control, but it's not. It's a reflex, a silent one. You think one more glance will explain the loss. It won't. What if the answer you seek isn't there? What if the truth lies in what you're avoiding? The urge to chase meaning in what's gone. It's not clarity. It's a trap. You keep feeding it. Each time you check, you deepen the fracture. The mind grows heavier, not clearer. You lose ground. Not because they left. Not because you failed. Because you keep reacting to what's already done. The loop runs, and you let it. Silence slips away. Self-command erodes. You feel it. The weight behind your chest. Invisible, but real. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them." The message you scroll through isn't the wound. Your need to understand it is. When did you last pause and see the loop for what it is? Not a truth, not a fact, just a pattern, one you choose to repeat or not. What changes if you stop feeding it? The reflex to chase. It's strong, but it's not you. It's a signal, a glitch. You can override it. Or you can keep scrolling and let the loop decide who you are. You think explaining will end the pain. You draft the message in your head, the one that justifies your worth. It feels right. It feels like control. If you could just make them see, the doubt would lift. The loop would stop. That's what you tell yourself. But pause. Look at the urge. You've explained before. You've replayed the words, searched for the perfect ones. Did it change anything? Did it erase the rejection number? It tightened the loop. Each word you crafted, another weight on your chest. Each attempt to be heard, another step from silence. The trap is simple. You believe understanding fixes loss. You believe their response holds your clarity. It doesn't. The answer isn't in their silence. It's in yours. Stop chasing their verdict. It's not the key. It never was. Pattern 1. Chasing closure. The phone glows in the dark. Your finger traces the same thread, the one you've read 100 times. You search for a clue, a reason, something to explain why they left, why the rejection cut so deep. You think one more scan will unlock the truth. It's not there. It never was. This is the loop. You chase closure, believing it will silence the doubt, the pain. But each swipe pulls you further from clarity. You know this. You've felt the weight grow heavier the moment you close the app, only to open it again. The cost is silent. Each time you dig, you lose ground. Not to them, not to the past, to yourself. The mind churns, replaying words, moments, what you could have said. Self-command slips. The urge to understand takes over. It's not a choice anymore. It's a reflex. One you feed. The more you chase, the deeper the fracture. You're not finding answers. You're building a cage. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The message you scroll through isn't the wound. Your need to dissect it is. The loop runs because you let it. You think closure comes from them. From their words, their reasons. It doesn't. It's in your hands. Always was. Step back. Feel the urge. But don't act. Let it pass. Like a wave you don't have to ride. Close the app. Turn off the screen. Breathe. The answer isn't in their silence. It's in yours. Override the reflex. Not because it's easy, because it's necessary. The void is where it clears. The mind doesn't rest after that choice. It fights back. The urge to chase lingers like a shadow you can't shake. But you've seen the loop now. You know its shape, its cost. The next step isn't to forget, it's to face what drives it. Pattern 2. Explaining the pain. The words form in your head. Perfect, sharp, ready. You rehearse what you'd say if they asked, if they cared. The story of your pain. Why it wasn't your fault. Why you deserved better. You craft each sentence, believing it will lift the doubt, make the rejection make sense. You explain to no one. In the dark, alone, the mind spins. A courtroom with no judge. You're the lawyer, the witness, the accused. And still, no verdict comes. This isn't new. You've done this before. Each explanation feels like progress, like you're closer to clarity. But it's a loop. The more you justify, the tighter it grips. The pain doesn't shrink. It grows. You lose silence. You lose presence. Every word you polish, another weight on your chest. You're not defending yourself. You're building a case against your own stillness. Imagine a locked door. You knock, again and again. No one answers. The sound echoes, but nothing opens. That's your mind now. Explaining doesn't unlock the past. It traps you outside it. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality. The rejection isn't the wound. Your need to prove it wrong is." Say less. Feel the urge to speak, but hold it. Let the words dissolve. They don't owe you freedom. You owe yourself the pause. Disengage from the need to be heard. Not because it's fair, because it's yours to control. No explanation owes you peace. The silence after that choice isn't empty. It's heavy, but it's yours. You've stopped the courtroom. Now the question is, what fills the space where words used to be? A river carves its path. Relentless, unyielding. You stand on the bank, watching it rush by. You could chase it, try to catch its flow in your hands. But it slips through. Always will. The urge to explain, to chase, it's the same. You can't hold it. You don't need to. Stand still. Pattern 3. Clinging to regret. The memory plays again. Uninvited. A moment you could have changed. A word you should have said. Or didn't. Regret sits heavy. A stone you carry without question. You tell yourself it's proof you care. Proof you're human. So you hold it closer. You cling. You think letting go means forgetting. Means losing something vital. You're wrong. The stone doesn't define you. It buries you. Each time you revisit that moment, you sink deeper. Not into truth, into numbness. The mind loops, replaying what's done, searching for a different ending. It's not there. Presense fades. The world around you blurs, while you live in a scene that no longer exists. Self-command fractures. You feel it, the slow bleed of clarity. You're not honoring the past. You're chaining yourself to it. Epictetus said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." The moment you regret isn't the wound. Your refusal to release it is. Regret isn't a debt you owe. It's a choice you make. Drop the stone. Feel its weight, but don't carry it. Let it fall. Not because it's easy, because it's done. Release the need to rewrite what's gone. Breathe. The air is lighter without it. You don't need to forget. You need to move. Let go isn't weakness. The ground feels unsteady without that weight, but it's yours to walk. The next question isn't what you lost. It's what you hide. Pattern 4. Suppressing shame. The mirror reflects a face you know too well. You smile. You nod. You say you're fine, but behind the eyes, shame burns. Not loud, not visible. A quiet ache. One you've learned to bury. You suppress it. You tell yourself it's strength. If no one sees, it doesn't exist. So you keep it locked. You walk through the day, shoulders straight, voice steady. No one knows. You've made sure of that. But the weight stays, invisible, but crushing. This isn't control. It's a fracture. Each time you hide the shame, you tighten the loop. The mind whispers, "You're not enough. You failed. You should have been better." You push it down, but it doesn't leave. It festers. Silence slips away. Presence erodes. You're not protecting yourself. You're carving out what's left of your ground. The longer you suppress, the deeper the wound grows. You feel it, the strain behind your chest. A house with a cracked foundation stands, but not for long. The cracks spread, silent, unseen. Shame is that crack. You can't hide it forever. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." The lie you tell yourself, that hiding makes you strong. It's the wound, not the shame itself. Witness it. Don't run. Don't bury. Feel the ache, but don't react. Let it sit, like a guest you don't invite, but don't fight. Override the urge to hide. Not because it's fair, because it's yours to face. Say less. Let the world see what it sees. Your truth doesn't need their verdict. You don't owe anything. The ache lingers, but it's not the enemy. Facing it shifts something. Now, what happens when the fear takes over? Why do I keep hiding? Because you think it saves you. Why does it hurt more? Because you're fighting what's true. Pattern 5. Reacting to fear. The pulse quickens. A thought lands. Sharp, uninvited. What if you fail again? What if they see you for what you are? Fear rises, a wave you can't ignore. So you act. You move. You speak. You fill the silence with anything to drown it out. You reeked. Not because it helps, because it feels like survival. You think motion buries the doubt. It doesn't. It feeds it. The loop spins faster. Each reaction builds a cage. You say too much to prove you're enough. You work harder to outrun the anxiety. But the ground shifts. Clarity fades. You're not escaping fear. You're giving it control. The mind races, chasing a safety that isn't there. Ground slips. You feel it, the hollow behind your ribs. You're not running towards strength. You're running from stillness. One path fights. It scrambles, clings to action. It begs for proof. It loses. Another path waits. It breathes, holds the line. It sees fear, but doesn't bow. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The wave isn't the wound. Your rush to stop it is." Pause. Feel the fear, but don't move. Let it crest, like a storm you don't chase. Hold the line, not because it's calm, because it's yours to command. Override the reflex. One breath, then another. You don't need to outrun it. You need to outlast it. You don't have to react. The storm passes, but the urge to move stays. What happens when you hope for what's not yours? Pattern 6. Hoping blindly. Their approval. You wait for it. A nod, a word, a sign you're enough. You hope blindly, believing their verdict will quiet the doubt. The isolation. You check their silence for meaning. You weigh their glances. You build your worth on what they give, or don't. It feels like a lifeline. It's not. It's a loop. Each hope you pin on them pulls you further from center. The cost is steep. You trade inner weight for their gaze. You bend, adjust, perform. Not for you, for them. The mind churns, searching for proof you matter. Clarity fades. Presence erodes. You're not building strength. You're borrowing it. from someone who doesn't owe you. You feel it, the ache when they don't respond, the shame when you realize you're still waiting. Seneca said, "Happiness depends on yourself, the hope you place in others. It's not freedom, it's a chain. Their silence isn't your wound. Your need for their voice is. You don't need their light to stand. You need your own. Disengage. Feel the urge to seek their nod, but let it pass. Withdraw from the game of approval, not because it's fair, because it's not your ground. Stand still. Your worth doesn't wait for their answer. It's here, now. Override the reflex. One choice, then another. Detachment is a form of respect. The air shifts when you stop waiting. It's not relief, it's space. But what happens when you run from what's true? 80% of your thoughts repeat, day after day. Most carve the same grooves. Most lead nowhere. You don't need them all. Observe which ones stay. Pattern 7. Avoiding pain. The ache rises, uninvited. A memory, a doubt, a sting of loss. You feel it, behind the ribs, sharp and familiar. So you turn away, you scroll, you work, you laugh louder, you avoid. Anything to keep it at bay. You think dodging the pain keeps you safe. It doesn't. It's a loop. Each escape pulls you deeper into a haze where truth blurs. You're not outrunning it. You're feeding it. The cost is silent. Each dodge chips away at ground. The mind grows restless, filling the quiet with noise. Clarity fades. You move faster, but the ache follows. It's not gone. It's heavier. You feel it. The weight you carry by running. Presence slips. You're not protecting yourself. You're losing what's left of your center. A wound ignored. Festers. You can't outrun what's inside. Epictetus said, "You cannot escape the things that are within your power to manage. The pain isn't the enemy. Your refusal to face it is." Avoiding doesn't heal. It buries. Sit with it. Feel the sting, but don't flinch. Let it be, like a shadow you don't chase. Override the urge to run. Breathe through it, not because it's pleasant, because it's true. Witness the ache without fighting it. You don't need to fix it. You need to see it. Pain doesn't mean truth. The ache doesn't vanish, but it shifts. Facing it clears a space. Now, what happens when you try to please? Pattern 8. Pleasing others. Their eyes land on you, and you shift. A word, a smile, a nod to keep them close. You please, bending to avoid the sting of rejection. You think it builds a bridge. It doesn't. It's a loop. Each time you adjust, you chip away at your own ground. You tell yourself it's small, a trade for peace. But the cost adds up. You're not connecting. You're performing. The weight grows quiet, but heavy. You say yes when you mean no. You soften your edges to fit their frame. Detached, strength erodes. The mind whispers, "You're not enough unless they approve." Clarity blurs. You feel it. The slow drain of presence. You're not gaining their respect. You're losing your own. Each act of pleasing, another crack in your center. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself. Their approval isn't your wound. Your need to earn it is. Pleasing doesn't secure you. It scatters you. You don't need their eyes to stand. You need your own. Refrain. Feel the urge to bend, but hold still. Say less. Let their judgment pass. Not because it's easy, because it's yours to control. Override the reflex to fit. Your worth doesn't need their vote. Stand firm. Where you are, you don't owe anything. The ground feels solid, but unfamiliar. You've stopped bending. Now, what happens when you carry grief too long? Marcus faced loss daily, betrayal, death, empire crumbling. He didn't weep. He didn't chase. He chose silence and wrote to himself. Pattern 9. Holding on to grief. The ache sits deep. A shadow you've named grief. You carry it like a badge, a proof of what you lost. You hold on, thinking it honors what was, the person, the moment, the life you had. You tell yourself letting go betrays them. It doesn't. It's a loop. Each time you cling, you sink further from presence. You're not keeping them close. You're losing yourself. The cost is heavy. The mind replays. Their voice, their absence. Emptiness grows. Not because they're gone, but because you stay there. In that moment, clarity fades. The world moves, but you don't. You feel it. The weight behind your eyes. Grief isn't the wound. Your refusal to release it is. You're not living with loss. You're building a shrine to it. A stone in your hand, gripped so long it cuts. You don't need to carry it to remember, Seneca said. What need is there to dwell on what is done? The loss isn't your burden. Your choice to hold it is drop it. Feel the grief, but don't make it your name. Let it pass. Like a wind you don't chase. Breathe. Not to forget. To return. Override the urge to stay in the past. You don't owe it your life. You owe yourself. Now. Stillness is enough. The air clears, but the shadow lingers. You've set it down. Now, what happens when you overthink what's gone? Pattern 10. Overthinking loss. The question hums. Uninvited. Relentless. Why did it end? What went wrong? You dissect the loss. Every word. Every silence. You search for the moment it broke. The reason it slipped away. You overthink. Believing the answer will quiet the doubt. The pain. It's a loop. Each thought you chase tightens the grip. You're not solving it. You're sinking deeper. The mind is a maze, and you're lost in it. Each turn, each what if, steals clarity. You replay their last look, their final words. You think one more thought will unlock the truth. It won't. Presence fades. The world blurs, while you live in a puzzle with no solution. You feel it, the weight behind your temples. You're not finding answers. You're fracturing your ground. A rope burns your hands. The harder you pull, the deeper it cuts. The loss isn't the rope. Your need to unravel it is, Seneca said. What's gone is not yours to control. The answer you seek, it's not in the past. It's in your choice to stop pulling. Unhook. Feel the urge to dissect, but let it pass. Step back from the maze. Breathe. Not to understand, to return. Override the reflex to chase reasons. You don't need to solve the loss. You need to see it and move. The void is where it clears. The maze grows quiet, but the urge to turn back lingers. You've stepped out. Now, what happens when you deny what's true? He sat in the dark, phone off. No answers sought, just breath and the weight of what he didn't chase. Pattern 11. Denying emptiness. The void creeps in, quiet, unasked, a hollow behind the ribs. You feel it, but you turn away. You smile. You move. You fill the day with noise. You deny the emptiness, thinking it's weakness. If you don't name it, it's not real. So you keep going. Work harder, talk louder, stay busy. It's a loop. Each denial deepens the fracture. You're not hiding it. You're feeding it. The system falters, silently. Inner weight crumbles. Not all at once, But slowly, the mind races, dodging the quiet. Clarity fades. You push forward, but the void follows. It's not gone. It's heavier. You feel it. The strain when you're alone. Presence slips. You're not proving strength. You're breaking what's left of your ground. A machine runs on fumes, grinding, sparking, until it stops. Emptiness is that signal. Denying it doesn't fix the fault. It burns you out. Epictetus said, "What you avoid, you empower." The void isn't the wound. Your refusal to face it is. Observe it. Don't run. Don't fill it. Feel the hollow, but don't react. Let it be. Like a room you don't need to furnish. Override the urge to escape. Breathe through it, not to erase it. To see it. You don't need to fight the void. You need to witness it. Silence isn't surrender. The void stays. But it's not the enemy. Seeing it shifts the ground. Now, what happens when you chase their approval? Pattern 12. Chasing validation. Their gaze lands, and you shift. A nod, a word, a glance, you wait for it. You chase their approval, believing it will silence the doubt, the shame. You adjust your words, your stance, your truth. You think their verdict will anchor you. It doesn't. It's a loop. Each time you seek their light, you drift further from your center. You're not rising. You're begging. The cost is steep. You trade silence for their voice. You bend to fit their frame. The mind whispers, "You're only enough if they say so." Inner ground erodes. Clarity blurs. You feel it. The ache when they don't respond. The weight when you realize you're still waiting. You're not building worth. You're borrowing it from hands that don't owe you. Epictetus said, "Your worth is not their verdict. Their silence isn't your wound. Your need to fill it is." Chasing doesn't secure you. It scatters you. You don't need their eyes to stand. You need your own. Withdraw. Feel the urge to seek their nod, but let it pass. Say less. Let their judgment fall. Not because it's fair, because it's not your chain. Override the reflex to chase. Stand still where you are. Your value doesn't wait for their vote. Not doing is power too. The air grows still, but the urge to seek lingers. You've stepped back. Now, what happens when anxiety drives you? Pattern 13. Reacting to anxiety. The pulse spikes, uninvited. A thought lands, sharp, relentless. What if you're not enough? What if it all falls apart? Anxiety surges, a current you can't ignore, so you react. You speak, you move, you fill the air with noise, anything to stop the wave. You think action buries the doubt. It doesn't. It's a loop. Each reaction fuels the storm. You're not calming it. You're caught in it. One path scrambles. It acts, speaks too fast, works too hard. It chases control and loses ground. Another path waits. It breathes, sees the wave, but doesn't ride it. The first fractures awareness. The second holds it. You choose. But each choice shapes the next. Anxiety isn't the wound. Your rush to silence it is. You feel it. The scatter in your chest. Numbness creeps in. Not peace. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The wave doesn't define you. Your reflex to fight it does. Control isn't in the action. It's in the pause. Hold the line. Feel the anxiety, but don't move. Let it crest, like a wind you don't chase. Breathe through, not to escape, to stay. Override the urge to act. One breath, then another. You don't need to stop the wave. You need to outlast it. You can end without drama. The current slows, but the urge to move stays. You've held still. Now, what happens when you chase closure again? A single breath cuts through the noise. You didn't react. The storm passed, and you're still here. Pattern 14. Replaying rejection. The screen lights up. Their name stares back. You don't click, but the urge pulls. You replay the rejection. Not the words, but the weight, the silence that followed. You chase the moment it broke, believing one more thought will make it clear. Why they left, why it hurt. It's a loop. Each rerun tightens the grip. You're not finding truth. You're deepening the pain. The mind loops. A film with no end. Each frame, their glance, their absence, steals presence. You think understanding will lift the doubt. It won't. Ground slips. Clarity fades. You feel it. The ache behind your eyes. You're not resolving the rejection. You're reliving it. The more you replay, the less you see. Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." The rejection isn't the wound. Your need to rewind it is. The truth isn't in their silence. It's in your choice to stop playing it back. Step back. Feel the urge to revisit, but don't close the screen. Let the moment stay gone. Not to forget, to return. Override the reflex to chase. Breathe. You don't need their reasons. You need your silence. Pain doesn't mean truth. The screen dims, but the pull lingers. You've stepped away. Now, what happens when you hide from shame again? Why do I keep looking back? Because you think it proves you're enough. Why does it hurt more? Because you're holding what's not yours. Pattern 15. Ignoring fear. The shadow stirs. A whisper in the chest. You feel it. Fear. Cold. And sharp. What if you're not enough? What if you fail again? You shrug it off. Push through. You work harder, talk louder, keep moving. You ignore it, thinking it's strength. It's not. It's a loop. Each time you dodge, you give it more ground. You're not outrunning fear. You're fueling it. The system strains, silently. The mind fills with noise, drowning the whisper. But it grows. Awareness fades. You move faster, but fear follows. You feel it, the tightness behind your ribs. Ground slips. You're not proving you're strong. You're losing the silence that holds you steady. Each dodge deepens the fracture. You're running from what's already here. A crack in the earth. Ignored, it splits wider. Fear is that crack. You can't outpace it, Epictetus said. You cannot escape what you refuse to face. The fear isn't the wound. Your choice to ignore it is. Pause. Feel it rise, but don't turn away. Witness the whisper. Let it be, without fighting. Breathe through, not to silence fear, to see it. Override the urge to run. You don't need to bury it. You need to stand. You don't have to react. The whisper lingers. But it's not your chain. You've faced it. Now, what happens when you cling to regret again? Seneca sat in exile, stripped of power, home, comfort. He didn't curse fate. He wrote, choosing clarity over complaint. Pattern 16. Seeking explanation. The silence stings. Their absence louder than words. You trace the moment they left, searching for why. You draft the question in your mind, the one you'd ask if they'd listen. You seek explanation, believing it will end the pain, the doubt. You think their answer will close the wound. It won't. It's a loop. Each question tightens the grip. You're not finding peace. You're deepening the fracture. The mind spins, a maze with no exit. You replay their silence, their final glance. Each why steals ground. Clarity fades. You feel it, the weight behind your temples. Present slips while you chase a reason that isn't yours. You're not solving the rejection. You're chaining yourself to it. The more you seek, the less you see. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Their silence isn't the wound. Your need to explain it is. The truth doesn't wait for their answer. It's in your choice to stop asking. Disengage. Feel the urge to question, but let it pass. Say less. Let their silence stand. Not to forget, to return. Override the reflex to chase. Breathe. You don't need their why. You need your silence. No explanation owes you peace. The maze grows quiet, but the pull to ask lingers. You've stepped back. Now, what happens when you avoid the void? 70% of your thoughts loop without purpose. They don't solve. They carve. Stop feeding what doesn't serve. Pattern 17. Avoiding the void. The quiet comes, unasked, heavy. A space where thoughts slow and the emptiness surfaces. You feel it, a hollow behind the chest. So you turn away, you scroll, you work. You fill it with anything. Noise, motion, distraction. You avoid the void, thinking it's danger, weakness. It's not. It's a loop. Each escape deepens the fracture. You're not saving yourself. You're losing ground. The system falters silently. The mind races, dodging the stillness. Inner weight crumbles, not loudly, but steadily. Clarity fades. You move faster, but the void follows. You feel it, the strain when the noise stops. Presence slips. You're not proving strength. You're running from the silence that holds it. Each dodge buries you deeper. A house stands until the foundation cracks. The void is that crack. Avoiding it doesn't mend it. It spreads. Epictetus said, "What you flee, you empower." The emptiness isn't the wound. Your refusal to face it is. Sit with it. Feel the hollow, but don't flinch. Let it be, like a room you don't need to fill. Breathe through, not to erase it, to see it. Override the urge to run. You don't need to fix the void. You need to witness it. The void is where it clears. The stillness settles, but the urge to fill it lingers. You faced it. Now, what happens when you chase their verdict again? Pattern 18. Pleasing to avoid rejection. Their eyes meet yours, and you adjust. A smile you don't mean. A word you don't feel. You please to keep them close, to dodge the sting of rejection. You think it builds safety, a shield against their judgment. It doesn't. It's a loop. Each time you bend, you lose ground, not to them but to yourself. You're not connecting, you're performing. The cost is quiet, but heavy. You say what they want, not what's true. You soften your edges to fit their gaze. Detached, strength, fractures. The mind whispers, "You're only enough," if they agree. Clarity blurs. You feel it, the ache when you're alone. The shame when you see what you've traded. You're not winning their respect. You're eroding your own center. Epictetus said, "No one can harm you unless you let them." Their rejection isn't the wound. Your need to avoid it is. Pleasing doesn't anchor you. It scatters you. You don't need their nod to stand. You need your own silence. Refrain. Feel the urge to please, but hold still. Say less. Let their judgment pass. Not because it's fair, because it's not your chain. Override the reflex to bend. Stand firm where you are. Your worth doesn't wait for their approval. Detachment is a form of respect. The air grows still, but the urge to adjust lingers. You've held your ground. Now, what remains when the noise stops? The wind howls outside, but the room stays quiet. You didn't open the door. You didn't chase the storm. You stayed still. Pattern 19. Reacting to numbness. The world fades. Colors dull. Sounds mute. Numbness creeps in. A fog you can't shake. So you react. You scroll endlessly. You work harder. You seek noise. Anything to feel something else. You think action will break the haze. It doesn't. It's a loop. Each reaction deepens the fog. You're not escaping numbness. You're sinking into it. The system glitches. Silently, the mind churns, filling the quiet with static. Awareness fades. You move faster, but the fog thickens. You feel it, the hollow behind your eyes. Ground slips. You're not fighting numbness. You're feeding it. Each act buries presence deeper. You're not waking up. You're drifting further from center. A frozen lake cracks under weight. Numbness is that ice. Running across it doesn't save you. It breaks. Seneca said, "You suffer before it's necessary." The fog isn't the wound. Your rush to outrun it is pause. Feel the numbness, but don't move. Let it settle, like dust you don't stir. Breathe through, not to feel, to see. Override the urge to react. One breath, then another. You don't need to break the fog. You need to witness it. You don't have to react. The fog lingers, but it's not your chain. You've stayed still. Now, what happens when you face the final doubt? Pattern 20. Chasing certainty. The doubt whispers. Soft, persistent. Are you enough? Will you make it? You feel it. A tug behind the chest. So you chase certainty. You plan harder. You replay every choice. You seek signs. In their words. In your work. In the mirror. You think knowing will kill the doubt. It doesn't. It's a loop. Each chase tightens the grip. You're not finding truth. You're fracturing ground. The mind spins. A wheel with no end. Each question, each what if, steals clarity. You search for proof you're safe. It's not there. Presence fades. The world blurs. While you hunt a future that doesn't exist, you feel it. The weight behind your temples. You're not securing yourself. You're scattering inner weight. The more you chase, the less you hold. Epictetus said, "You cannot control what happens, only how you respond." The doubt isn't the wound. Your need to erase it is. Certainty isn't your anchor. Silence is. You don't need to know. You need to stand. Step back. Feel the urge to know, but let it pass. Breathe through. Let the doubt sit, unanswered. Override the reflex to chase, not to win, to return. You don't need certainty. You need stillness. Now, stillness is enough. The doubt quiets, but doesn't vanish. You've stopped chasing. Now, what remains in the silence you've chosen? The phone lies face down, screen dark. The room holds its breath, no sound but your own. Hands rest still, no urge to move. The world outside hums, but here, nothing stirs. Only silence and the weight of what you didn't chase. You didn't react this time. You didn't scroll, didn't explain, didn't bend. That pause, it wasn't empty. It was yours. A moment you claimed, not for answers, but for presence. The doubt lingered, but you let it pass. The pain stayed, but you didn't feed it. You stood in the quiet you've been avoiding. What changes if you stay here? Not running, not filling, just breathing in the space you've made. Stillness is a choice that holds.